Hey guys, here we are, Mr. Alvarez and Mrs. Alvarez. Uh, you guys just finished reading, we just finished discussing in class the preparation for a lifelong commitment. I thought it would be good for my wife and I to answer some questions after this discussion. Some questions you guys have that you guys wrote down, also some questions that are prepared for this interview in the book. We're just gonna kind of get into it and give it our perspective. And we'll go back and forth between book questions and your guys' questions because I know you guys want your guys' questions answered. So bear with us. Past our bedtime, we just put our baby girl down, so this should be fun. All right, first question given to us by you guys is, after how long of dating did marriage become an idea to you guys? I don't know who wrote that. It's a good question. Honey, do you want to start?
You can go.
Okay. Well, our dating was different. We were on and off for a little bit. We dated for a little bit, and then we broke up, and we had some issues between us.
5 years.
5 years. We met 2005, and we married in 2010. But I think, I guess, 2 years into our relationship, I say 2007, 2008, around there was more seriousness in us really thinking about marriage and us thinking about this vocation and what it was going to be. At least for me, I was out playing ball, as you guys know, and there's a lot of distractions, a lot of things that were going on that I didn't take serious, and some things that I did take serious. So it took a while for me to actually think about, marriage between us, but it was something that I had thought of.
For me, to be honest, thought of marriage from the beginning, just because I always knew I wanted to be a wife and a mom. And so I think that might have been actually a downfall on my part, is having marriage in the front of my mind from pretty much the get-go, because I felt like that blinded me to certain things and made me feel like I was in a rush when really I could have just stepped back and with a clear mind looked at things. But once we got more serious and welcomed the Lord into our relationship, I think that's when marriage, a good marriage, came to my mind, and I thought that, okay, this could really happen.
Okay, question number 2, a question from the book. It says, what role did faith play for you throughout high school and college? Do you want to start with this one?
Okay. In a relationship or in general?
In general, what role did faith play for you throughout high school and college? Okay. I guess you could relate it to relationships.
So, for me, I went through Catholic school from K to 12. So, my faith was always something that I thought about on a daily basis. I was always being taught religion. It was just something I was always used to. There was no question of not learning religion or not including my faith. It was just a part of my life. In high school, I had a strong faith in my own life, but I didn't really include it too much in my relationships. It wasn't the cool thing to do, and I didn't quite understand it. My parents were divorced, so I didn't really have that model to look at. And so I guess involving my faith in my relationships during high school was not something I really ever thought about. It was just something I experienced on my own, and the two didn't connect. Once I got into college, that's when I did want to start having my faith be a bigger role in my relationship, but I was kind of on my own with that, so that was a huge struggle to want to include faith and God in your relationship, and if you're on your own, you don't have that other person to want to do that with you. That is a constant struggle, and in the end, fortunately, because of Abe, I just wasn't in that relationship anymore, and God just pulled me out of it. So my own personal faith, even though it wasn't with that person, and we didn't share that in that relationship, I feel that God pulled me out and introduced me to who He wanted me to go through the struggle with, but also end up with, which was this guy.
For me, faith through high school and college was similar, but I did not go to Catholic school. My first time in Catholic school was 3 years ago with you guys as sophomores. It was really different, just because I didn't think about faith at all within relationships, or if I was dating or if I had a girlfriend in high school. It wasn't something that was talked about, unless we talked about, I'm Catholic, or we're Catholic, or my mom, we go to church. I go to church on Sunday. What church you go to? That kind of thing. But it wasn't something I was thinking about. We have to both be Catholic if we're dating or anything like that. It just wasn't, I guess, not of importance to me, but it wasn't something that I was thinking about as a teenager. Maybe because I didn't always have it around me. Maybe because it only came from my mom. I'm not quite sure, but it's kind of those things that we've talked about following the crowd, and sometimes talking about faith in your high school circle, in your clique. Wasn't the cool thing to talk about. It's like, what are you talking about, Jesus? But being out of the Catholic school, I don't know. I mean, Natalie just explained that it wasn't there, but it possibly just stayed in the classroom, like we've talked about. In college was, I was far from it, but still close. It was a weird experience for me as far as how I use faith in college, and even in relationships. It was not even close. I was blinded by the whole, this is a cool thing to do, and this is what you're supposed to do, and not really worried about connecting myself to God when it came to any relationships I had. Friendships, when you make friends and you get close to people, you do get to the point where you talk about some things as far as what you believe in and values and stuff. But when it came to relationships, it never came to mind as far as let's talk about God in our relationship kind of thing. It was never something that happened. All right, third question. This is Iman actually wrote this one. Was it hard making a lifelong commitment of marriage? Was it hard making a lifelong commitment of marriage? I'll start. No, it was not. It was very easy. I guess just because of who we became, how we grew, what we learned from each other, the struggles, the obstacles, the failures, and how we accepted each other even after that, and knowing that we weren't married. Yet showed a lot of strength in Natalie's heart and her soul, and kind of myself. I learned a lot about myself as well. So when it came to us deciding that, we do want to get married, and let's go through the process, which we will talk about this engaging encounter that we went to. It was not difficult at all. It was very easy committing myself to Natalie for life?
No, it wasn't hard at all. It was pretty easy decision. I think by this point, when we finally knew we were ready to get married, there was no doubt, there was no what ifs. It was just yes. You could have said, okay, you guys, let's just get married right now. Let's go to the church and get married. And I would have said, okay, we're ready. It's not to say it's easy, but it is definitely, it was definitely an easy decision to make. I do want to say, though, I think it's because we did pray about it, and I think we were at peace, and we knew that whatever life threw at us, we knew we'd have each other to go through it with, and we'd have God. So, yeah.
True that. All right, from the book, what specific things did you look for in a future spouse?
I knew whoever I married had to have God in their life. That is one thing that my parents, especially my dad, instilled in me. And although I didn't see my parents together, or I did, but they were divorced when I was 10. And so they weren't the best example, but from seeing him in a second marriage, and how they put God number one in their marriage, and they went through a lot of struggles. I just knew, although my dad's not perfect, I knew I wanted somebody to have God in their life like he had, or he has God in his life. So whoever I married had to put God number one, and had to be just a man of God. And when I say a man of God, I mean strong, not necessarily physically fit strong, but strong enough to be able to cry, be able to admit their faults, be able to put up with me and how my different moods, or to be able to hold me when I need to be held, to be strong for me when I need them to be strong, to have a sense of humor, somebody I could laugh with, cry with, just be completely myself, and not feel like I have to change anything about myself. And somebody I would, this is huge, somebody I could see being the father to my kids. Is this person who I would want to be the father of my children, and a family man, and a simple man who likes beans and rice.
Shadixie got jokes. Specific things I looked in a future spouse. I kind of talked to you guys about this a little bit, but Natalie hit on a lot of things that came to me later as I grew up and understood what was important. I had a great model for it in my parents. I always tell you guys, married for 40 years. Even though they had their struggles, they showed me how to love one another, how to work for each other, how to work for their children, how to be there, how to support their children, and et cetera, et cetera. I think that's what I looked for when I was looking for a future spouse, and when I was serious about looking for a future spouse. Were they gonna support me? Were they gonna support our children, or my difficulties with my career, since I knew I was going to play professionally and that's what I wanted to do. If I met that person, which I did during my career, would they be accepting of that? Would they be accepting that I was going to be gone, and sometimes my career would be first? And I think that was a difficulty for both of us to kind of agree on. But then, later I understood that I had it kind of backwards, and I had the wrong things some of the wrong things looking sometimes, as far as what I expected a spouse to be. But the biggest thing was the support. I think having a good support system within your spouse, and knowing they care for you.